About 20 years after the Fourth Blackfire Rebellion and the death of Bittersteel, two descendants of Daemon I were poised to take command of the Golden Company. One was called Daemon, of course, and the other was his cousin Maelys, nicknamed the Monstrous. He was huge and said to be inhumanly strong, and also he had a second head sprouting from his neck, the size of a child's fist. When it became unclear who would take control, Maelys killed Daemon's warhorse with a single punch, then twisted his cousin's head until it was torn from his shoulders. A few years later, in 258 AC, Maelys met with 8 other people in the disputed lands in Essos: a pirate queen, an exiled prince from the Summer Isles, a notorious pirate from Lys, a few mercenary captains, an exiled Westerosi knight, and a merchant prince from Tyrosh. There they formed an alliance called the Band of Nine, promising to help each other carve out a kingdom for each of them, and the one they promised Maelys was the 7 kingdoms of Westeros. When Prince Duncan Targaryen was told of the pact, he famously said that the crowns were being sold for 9 a penny. Afterwards they became known as the 9 Penny Kings. Although in Westeros preparations were made just in case Maelys and his allies invaded, most thought the Band of Nine would eventually collapse in Essos, or fall at the hands of an alliance amongst the free cities. The first success of the Band of Nine was conquering the disputed lands and Tyrosh, setting up that Tyroshi merchant prince as its new ruler. Next they conquered the Stepstones, and Maelys declared himself King Maelys I Blackfire. From there they stood ready to invade Westeros. After the death of his father Aegon and other family members and the tragedy at Summerhall, Jaehaerys II now sat on the Iron Throne, and in the year 259 AC, he recognized the threat of the Nine, and rather than wait for an invasion, he chose to take the war to them. He intended to lead the attack himself, but his hand, Lord Ormond Baratheon, convinced him that that would be unwise, as the king was unused to the rigors of campaign and not skilled in arms. Jaehaerys agreed to remain in King's Landing, and command was given to the hand of the king. The next year the Targaryen army sailed to war. The force included a fleet of 100 longships led by Quaelon Greyjoy, Lord of the Iron Islands. And from the Westerlands, Lord Tytos Lannister sent 1,000 knights and 10,000 men-at-arms, led by his younger brother Sir Jason Lannister. House Martell also sent spearmen from Dorne. They landed in 3 of the Stepstones. Battle raged across the islands and the channels between them for most of that year. The Hand of the King was one of the first to die, killed by Maelys himself. Command then passed to Sir Gerald Hightower, the new young Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. After Sir Jason Lannister was killed at Bloodstone, Lord Roger Rayne led the remaining men from the Westerlands to several victories. Many young knights and lords distinguished themselves during the battle, including Steffon Baratheon, Brynden Tully, aka the Blackfish,
Kingslayer, Blackfish,
an 18-year-old Tywin Lannister and his younger brother Kevan, and a 16-year-old Aerys Targaryen. Hightower and his men were hard-pressed for a time, and as war hung in the balance, a young knight from the Stormlands cut a bloody path through the ranks of the Golden Company to reach Maelys the Monstrous. It was Sir Barristan Selmy who fought the last Blackfire pretender in single combat, and with a swing of his sword he ended the Blackfire threat on the Iron Throne. The remainder of the 9 Penny Kings had little interest in Westeros, so they retreated back to their own domains. Half a year of hard fighting remained before the Stepstones and the disputed lands were finally freed from the Band of Nine. Although Jaehaerys restored order to the realm, his reign was a short one. In the year 262 AC, King Jaehaerys II became ill and died at the age of 37. His only son inherited the crown, Aerys II, later on becoming known as the Mad King.